All right, Chelsea fans, welcome back to another episode of the London is Blue podcast. As there's host Brandon, Joe, my host Nick and Dan, and gentlemen, wheels down, feet on U.S. soil. Holy smokes, we did it. We're back, and we're here at the Leicester City match review, Dan. And what's also maybe bittersweet, I don't know. How are you feeling that apparently it wasn't all up to us being there, and that people are probably no longer clamoring for us to stay?
You know, the catalyst for change is sometimes unappreciated in the moment, but the catalyst doesn't need to remain to start the reaction, to start the change, to start the metamorphosis, Nicholas. And we did.
Did you read your 7th grade science book before you showed up to today's pod?
There was no reading of science books on the plane back from Amsterdam to Seattle.
We were in a cocoon, if you will, but then a metamorphosis happened and we emerged a beautiful butterfly.
Yes.
Talking about a chrysalis?
Which is very much what we will be avoiding in this podcast, but we're going to be celebrating our 3rd win in a row, like I said, against Leicester City away. So again, we'll be talking about how the Foxes cannot foil our form. Havertz rediscovered, ? And a discussion on Mykhailo Mudryk after Potter works him back into the side. And I'm sure we will touch on some of the fantastic performances throughout the match. So kicking it off, as always, Dan, temp check from the people, the 3-word match review.
Yeah, I will say D. Peasy, our good friend David Pastor, called out the fact that maybe there was some favoritism showed to the Glanville clan for some forward match reviews that will be included today. They bought some G&Ts, and so they bought themselves a forward match review.
As you know, we can be bought.
Clearly.
for copious amounts of G&Ts. So Ollie Glanville with the easy as 1, 2, 3. Let's count that as like a hyphenated 1, 2, 3. Mr. Rick Glanville with Enzo in the middle, as in, we've got Enzo in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
He knows
Again, he compounded in and the to one word. So
exactly.
And Rick's a writer, so you know it's legit, you know?
Yeah. There's a thought about the politics of the English language. And if you're not breaking rules, you're not doing it right. Def Jock Daddy with the Captain Mateo Kovacic. It's CJ.
You are pushing the envelope here, my friend.
It sounds better than Kova cul-de-sac.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
We saw him.
Hey, note in future 3-word match reviews, if you want to string any words together with hyphens, Dan will count it as one word. We're good to go.
Rough.
It's CJ with the Chelsea beat PGMOL. We weren't the only ones who had to try to beat it this weekend. Stutz with the Graham's Piercing Blues. Claire giving it the love for London Blue Pod. Impact continues. See, Brandon, the people haven't forgotten. The streets haven't forgotten.
Never
Garland
forget.
with the Y is VAR. Fernax with the let him cook, but Kukurea, so CUC. And then Shane with the Vadadra Kai Davra, with the spell from
Avada Kedavra. I'm assuming that's like abracadabra.
That's a Harry Potter reference, Brennan. It's a cultural thing. Just it's fine. I like that one. I think Shane wins this one. That was pretty good.
I read like 4 of the books.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Wow. Hit you with a little Owen Wilson. Wow.
I went with Potter has receipts. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Some people, and I said this. I said this post Southampton. Don't say shit you're going to regret. Sure enough, you did. And some of you built YouTube channels off it. So, hey, Potter has receipts. We'll see how it plays out. Dan, what about you?
Chelsea playing volleyball. A lot of volleys. They were all excellent.
Okay.
Nick?
I went with outfoxing bullshit refereeing.
Okay. For
Very
someone
accurate.
who just really had an opinion about
outfoxing is actually a word. It's a real word.
And stringing. I'm just saying it was a tough day to play a hyphenation.
Yeah, it's a real word.
I don't believe it's actually hyphenated though. So just,
Oh, is it just one word?
I believe it's just one word.
There goes my grammar school. All right.
Gotcha. All right.
It could actually just be outfoxed bullshit refereeing. Say past tense.
Okay, Dan. Thank you.
Well, huge shout out to Ian, Brandon, Jacob, Ryan. That is Brandon from the trip. I helped him get signed up on Patreon. So welcome to Discord. All sunshine and rainbows at all times. Apple Podcasts, huge shout out to Camino Rojo from the United States, G-Man CFC1 from the UK, and Sid K from down under in Australia, and Martin Serve also from the US. So again, love that we can shout out names. Unfortunately with Spotify, we can't see names, but we do appreciate the 5-star rating. Again, helps us climb the charts, helps us be seen, helps us get suggested to other Chelsea fans.
Can I do a shameless plug for the underdogs here? Is that okay?
Woof, woof, woof.
You know that Ted Lasso is coming out with season 3, episode 1 this week. Do your best to avoid spoilers because they're all over the internet. I nearly got caught by one and karate chopped it away. But if you want to listen to our Ted Lasso watch along podcast called The Underdogs, most of the first 2 seasons are out. We're figuring out the end of season 2 right now. That's why you don't see 10 through 12 there. But if you would be so kind to go listen, rate, review, that would be utterly fantastic. We've created social accounts as well at Pod Underdogs. You can find the Underdogs on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your shows. So thank you for all the support so far. We appreciate it. And let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, if nothing else, jump in season 3 and take the ride with us. Look, we did the season 3 preview from the Crown and Anchor pub. We went there in Richmond and recorded live from there. So
an absolute delight.
Pretty freaking cool. So, all right. Well, here we go. Match review time. Leicester City were the opponents this past 11th of March. In the Premier League at the King Power Stadium. In case you missed it, Leicester City 1, Chelsea 3. Could have been more. Thanks, VAR. Thanks, refereeing. Goals coming from Chile B in the 11th minute. Daka, 39th. Kai Havertz, Kung Fu Flying in the 45th +6. And Kovacic, the volley master in the 78th minute. So again, huge shout out to Chelsea FC. Go download the 5th Stand app, the only official app from Chelsea. All the highlights interviews break there. They're going to let us run the highlights. So thank you, and we'll be right back. Don't you guys just love a good, positive little highlight match review?
It's been a while, man. I mean, these last 3 matches have been
fine
fun.
Form now. They're as good as the team is right now. You know, they're really just clicking on all cylinders.
And we didn't plug them in while we were abroad, so like we're back at it again, which is nice. So, Danielson, throw in the lineup. I see you've completely migrated us off of Google lineups onto SofaScore.
For lineups, we typically use the Premier League website, but look, the SofaScore one's nice. So I like the interface.
Not when I'm doing the scripts. It's Google all the way, baby.
Oh, I'm happy for you. Anyway, I'm also happy that Kepa Arrizabalaga was between the sticks and was Wesley Fofana, Kalidou Koulibaly, and Marc Cucurella. That's right, a back 3 again. Back 3 is back on the menu. Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Ben Chilwell were your wingbacks with Mateo Kovacic and Enzo Fernandez, as we talked about earlier, in the middle, along with Kai Havertz, Mykhailo Mudryk, and then Joao Felix up front in the attack. And look, we did have some substitutes used. In fact, we decided we'd use all 5 today. Kind of rare performance there. Conor Gallagher came in first, right after half for Joao Felix. And then it was a double sub of Christian Pulisic and Trev Chalobah. And then Benoit Badiashile and Chuck Wameka getting an opportunity to come in as well. And then just a few players unused.
Can I just say, how have we not done back 3's back all right? You know, I mean, it's been sitting right in front of us the entire time. And
there you go, you just did.
Jake, we need to put that over some just spicy tunes and make that a real thing.
For you to drop a little serenade to the audience.
Yeah, you know what, Jake, we're gonna work on that because it's working for us right now for sure.
You can bust that.
Okay, some of the top line stats from this. Chelsea eking it out with 51% possession. We had 12 shots, 6 on target. 3 were off and 3 were blocked. Leicester had 17 shots, 7 on target. Busy day for Kepa. They had 4 off target and 6 block shots, which is a good day from the defense. We had 11 fouls there, 10. Took a while. We had 2 cautions early on. Finally, Leicester got their 3, ended up getting a second for a red card. We had 2 big chances, only missed one of them. Leicester had 3 and missed all 3 while we all hit the woodwork. Other than that, Yeah, I think we'll kind of leave it there. So, one random stat.
Were there any other red cards besides the one for Leicester on there?
We'll get to that in a second. You're skipping ahead.
I'm just curious in the stat box.
No. One random stat. Dan, what have you got?
I had to improvise here, but one, the number of times Kai Havertz was kicked in the chest and didn't end up earning a foul. It's one random stat from the game.
Yeah, interesting.
Look, Amarte obviously has history with Chelsea when he threw down the banner after the FA Cup match, yada yada. Nobody teaches that technique where you fully straighten your leg when you're kicking in the air. It's risk of injury. It's unnatural. Like, you have to make the effort. If anything, Nick, you usually see players will kick their leg up and then retract back in order to actually protect themselves and help them land in a better spot. Amarte, absolute just jerk, knew what he was doing. Mariner was fucking drowning in this game.
Yeah, no, this is the game has passed Mariner by. This is not the first time this season where he's been atrocious. The whole refereeing corps has been pretty bad. I think if you look at Michael Oliver being the best of the bunch, like 3 years ago, that would have been unthinkable. And now, like, that's kind of where we are. And the real concern here is that, the stamp on Felix's shin, not his ankle, as the commentary said at the beginning, and the
as
kick
if
to the
that
chest.
Matters, by the way.
It doesn't, and we know it doesn't because Joao Felix was given a red card for a very similar foul, right? So we know what the standard is, and I think we were all expecting that standard to be upheld, except for the fact that, of course, we were stupid and we forgot that it was early in the game, so you can't give a red card. So that's on me. It's going to get someone fucking hurt, man. We are lucky that Kai didn't have a more serious injury, because we know any sort of blunt force to the chest, we saw this in the NFL game in the winter, right? Like, can be really bad. Like, it can cause cardiac arrest. It can break ribs. It can do a lot of shit. And it's just inexplicable how that was not looked at more, how it wasn't given as a red card. It wasn't given as a fucking foul in the first place. You can't be refereeing if you don't see that stuff. Sorry.
Well, and everyone's complicit. And look, when you leave your feet, you assume risk, and you're still responsible for your body and said action. So even if he did jump and high kicked, like, that's on you. You took that risk. Kai played it differently, and you're wrong.
And by the way, Andre Mariner was on the VAR today for United against Southampton.
How'd that go?
It didn't go well, Dan. So it's just it's a fucking shambles, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know we talk about refereeing a lot. I know we talk about missed calls a lot. This is like beyond missed calls. This is endangering player safety. And if you're not up for the job, step out of the ring. Sorry.
Yeah, I was tweeting some people about it, but I did just say that it's too, I know I'm like beyond Chelsea. The refereeing is actually like making me want to watch less Premier League football this season. It's to the point where it's a massive liability for the league as well, even just like people watching it, because it's so bad and it constantly interjects itself that it just steals the excitement and enjoyment from it. So the FA, the PGML, they have to like bury it from bottom to top. Like, who came in like midway through and he's already out again? The Mike Dean. He was brought in to be in charge of it, and I'm pretty sure he's already out. Like,
Howard Webb is in charge of it now. So,
but look, you've already had 2 changes right in this season, and it is bad news bears. So they have to figure something out. But we'll go ahead and focus on the game from here on out. But obviously, refereeing all weekend yet again is a massive talking point amongst many, many fans. So we're going to take our ad break. When we are back, we're jumping right into how the Foxes could not foil our form. Thank you to the sponsors. All right. So big question. Is this a sustained run of form?
Is this a dynasty? No, wrong question. Okay.
I think Dan would be open to having that conversation. The fact you opened that door, Nick,
probably
surprising. So obviously beat Leeds, beat Dortmund, beat Leicester. I've got a good run, right? Everton, Villa, before Liverpool. The back three seems to be the most obvious change that is working, Dan, because we've still had players come and go. We've still had maybe not the best form. I would give Joao a pass on the Leicester game. He wasn't great, but when you take that big of a tackle 3 minutes into the game, and he took a couple more throughout the game, the fact he made it to half is kind of impressive. Like, he just had a rough day out. So put that aside. Back three seems to be the recipe for success, at least for this season.
Yes. 1000% yes. Please do not.
Should we make a shirt?
Experiment.
3 ATB.
Back three's back. All right. We already made it earlier.
Yeah. So we talked about it. It's a Backstreet Boys reference. Just get with the program.
Everybody.
Right, Jordan, design coming your way.
Look, no, I think it's been a really good change. And I think what's been nice to see is this is a back three without a player that you would argue has been our best center back for the last multitude of seasons, and Thiago Silva, who we're seeing Instagram video reels of him doing his leg compression and getting ready as quickly as he can to come back into the side. But this is with Kukurea coming into the left center back role, who had been out for a sustained period after having a lot of inconsistent performances. And putting,
you can say bad. They were bad. I mean,
bad. Yes,
be real about it. But
yeah,
not the last two.
No, the last two have been stellar. Koulibaly, who many of us were wondering or asking a question at least of like, hey, is he gonna be able to acclimatize to the Premier League? Turns out it was a little bit of a longer ramp, but he's finding his way, and he's assisting from the left side of the pitch for a goal, which is exactly what everybody anticipated. And Fofana is back healthy now, and you've got this combination, previously in the last match with Reece James and this match with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, where there's some strong combination play that's happening in that back three, Nick. And I think in general, we have the players to excel with it. It suits the way that we want to play and allows us to be aggressive with the wingbacks again, which is opening up more attacking opportunities, which is what Chelsea, good attacking opportunies, but maybe I would say it that way.
No Reece in this one, no Mason in this one. Obviously, as you mentioned, Silva out, no Sterling in this one, right? So those are some big players that were not available to us. You think about the back five and its various combinations of wing backs and kind of outside center backs. Fofana is really starting to play well. He looked really shaky against Leeds in the first half, and then it's kind of worked it out after being out for a long time. Either Badiashile or Kukurea, whatever, is playing really good on the left-hand side. Koulibaly stood out to me in this one. I think he's really adopted that center role. He's able to do kind of some unique pressing up, Brandon, but he's really been dominant in the air on set pieces, which we know that we need to work out defensively. And then you have the two wing backs who on their day, I think are best in class. One is probably best in the world at what he does, and the other is pretty damn good. And got a goal in this one from the opposite side after taking down a ridiculous volley from our own center back who did the squiggly legs and then cross. So
right. I just watched it back. Koulibaly had the assist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. He did the cross and then bam.
Not only that, Koulibaly,
main character energy from Koulibaly this match.
Koulibaly was on the left side, crossing it to the far back post on the right side, and Chilwell's there to meet it.
You're not telling me that Graham Potter didn't draw that up? Exactly as planned.
Oh my gosh. Chaos ensues and we score. I had to pause it and go, wait, 26. I'm like, is that our 26?
Now, I would say this, I don't think we had a brilliant defensive day against Leicester City, but again, it's showing some passing patterns and defensive solidity that we just didn't really see in the back four. And I think this just is where we are. There's time in the future, whether it be 2 years from now or whatever, to work on what future Chelsea looks like, if it's a 4-3-3 or whatever. But now is not that time, not when you need results, and we're getting results in this back 3/5. So I'm all in.
Yeah. So defense looks good. Obviously gave up the goal, a little bit shaky, whatever. the wingbacks, even Ruben slotting back out there again, like didn't hurt us. That's for sure. What I noticed the biggest difference was the midfielders and even center backs looking to play sometimes potentially risky passes, but they're line breaking passes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about Dortmund and now Leicester, how many offsides goals have we scored? 4 or 5? I would much rather have this team playing on the back shoulder of defenders, trying to hit that 20, 30-yard gap, letting players run in. It forces defenders to come out, forces goalkeepers to come out. We saw the Dortmund keeper have to come out to the very top of his box, and Raheem had him in no man's land. Didn't score, unfortunately. But this is the front foot football we want to see from this team. Yeah. The midfielders are constantly looking forward. Shout out to Sam, CFC Central. He put out the thread that says, look, Kai isn't really leading the line. He's actually dropping in to kind of receive that first pass. And whether it's Mudryk, Sterling, Felix, they're the ones hitting the gaps in after he lays off to Kova or Enzo, and then they're slotting through. I'm so much happier because even during the drought of runs and points, like we weren't playing anything like that at all. And I don't know what's changed. Like, I don't know what Potter's done in training. I don't know what the players have talked about. All I know is that the team that we saw from Dortmund and Leicester is the team that we saw when we went on that big run earlier in the season under Potter. They were aggressive. They played on the front foot, and they were taking risks. And if this is how the team's going to end out the season, might be onto something.
I mean, I think so. I mean, we'll talk about Mudryk here in a bit, but, you know, even taking the Sterling example from Dortmund, right? Like, he's a threat in behind. He's quicker than a center back, which means they have to play him differently than they would someone who's like a target man, Dan, who is maybe a little more slow or plotting or whatever. And, you know, I think one of Kai's strengths, you know, we know he's not a number 9. That's not what he does best. He's like a second striker, number 10, is that he can make really critical passes in the final third. And he's found Felix multiple times over the last few matches in dangerous space. Right now, we need Joao to finish these chances, you know, as we haven't really seen him do. But other than that, yeah, I'm all in on that sort of like drop back false 9 style for Kai, because I think it fits him.
Yeah. So let's talk about Cobra Kai a little bit. He's not had a great season. Frustrated the fans a lot at times. And you know, I think a lot of questions about him, but he has been absolutely crucial. He's become the de facto striker. We've done a lot of different things this season. And for whatever reason, he is just succeeding, Dan, while the team's in a good run of form. And maybe it's one of those things where you say, look, Kai wasn't the only one not playing well. A lot of people were not playing well. So it's hard for him to be it's hard for a striker to be a standout when no one else around them is really doing a good job. He is now flexible, versatile in attack. He's scoring goals. He's creating goals. And the favorite part about it, I think, for most of the fans, is that he's shithousing all over the pitch as well. Mm-hmm. He's got a confidence and an air of arrogance around him right now that when it's good, you like it. When it's not good, it's annoying because it seems like he's distracted by it.
I just really hope a hard kick to the chest is not his reset button to do the system reboot that gets him to where he needs to be, potentially at the start of the match, in terms of the way he engages, the way he drops back in. I mean, it's both with Sterling and now Mudryk in this match. You know, he really was benefiting again from that second striker role, and we talked about Sam mentioning it, but also, you know, one of the things that he did at Leverkusen that worked out extremely well for him. And at this point in the season, he's not played in as many matches. So he's playing 25 Premier League matches this season, 29 total last season, still the same number of starts at 22, more minutes, 1888 to 1809 last season. So he's at 7 goal and assist contributions, 6 goals, 1 assist to the 11 from last season, with plenty of time staying healthy to likely hit his best return for Chelsea in a Premier League season. And that's after, and we could just say there's a lot of leniency that we would have, Nick, for the earlier parts of the season where it just wasn't working for anybody. And so I think there is a little bit of numbers that you have to work back out. But if he can help contribute the way he did, just as a, attacking contributor against Dortmund, and now what he's doing in the Premier League, which is also scoring an incredible goal too, over the top from Enzo, with one of the sexiest assists we've seen in quite some time from any player in a Chelsea shirt. This is portending well for this run that Chelsea need to go on to, because mathematically, top four is not gone, and anything is up for grabs in the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go there, obviously, because it's just not my style. But I do think the breaks that we go on, right? Chelsea hasn't had dominant possession in any of these last three matches, right? We've been 50% roughly, so we're giving our opponents a lot of ball. And one thing I would say is that our breaks in the past have been really bad. This season in particular, they've not been well executed. You don't know where your other attacking players are running or fullbacks are running. And I would say that as Kai is dropping deeper to receive the ball, Brandon, what you're seeing is the world of passing options open up quite a bit, right? He's not just passing, into, or passing backwards or passing to someone else like Jorginho to make the pass forward. He's looking for the runs in behind of Mudryk or Sterling, or pick an attacking option that you like the best. I mean, Lord knows what we're going to do with all of them, Felix as well. But I like this as a strategy because it brings out some of the slower center backs or even defensive midfielders, and it clears out space for guys that we know are fast enough to get in behind. And, you put your money on Raheem Sterling finishing one-on-one with the goalkeeper more often than not.
Yeah, Dortmund did it with I just had his name. The guy who overcame cancer. Was at West Ham for a hot minute.
Haller.
He was pulling Koulibaly deep into the midfield. Like, their goalkeeper is actually hitting short goal kicks on purpose to suck him up. Mm-hmm. And Koulibaly was struggling. Do I go all the way or do I let it go? And he was 50-50. It's just the same thing, right? Like, Kai, he doesn't really like the challenge of the high ball, but they know they have to chase him. And so, he can pull. He can pull and shift the positioning of those defenders.
What this also does, though, and I think this is really important, as we saw on the goal that he scored, is he then has the option to become a late runner, right? Because he's been picked up and there's balls that the ball goes in behind or it goes out wide or whatever. He then can make kind of the slower second run to be in the box a little bit later.
Because the center back is straight lining it as far back as they can.
Exactly. And it means that they aren't always, on the clock mentally to pick him up, right? So he had a lot more free space, obviously, on the goal because he made the right run at the right time. And of course, that ice cream scoop dime assist was just a absolute beaut. But the finish was equally good.
Ice cream dime.
Yeah, I mean, it was really beautiful stuff to watch. So, I mean, I just hope he has so much potential, right? We've been saying this for years. Scores the winner, has one patch of good form all of last season, has not been very good this season. I think Dan's comment that no one's been very good is accurate. So it's tough to judge as one part of that. But I really just hope he starts to play to his potential. And if this system is the thing that works out for him, right, that makes him more dangerous, then you figure out how to put the pieces around him to make it all work. I mean, that's what Potter's job is. So maybe they found something here. I don't know.
Yeah, to be floating in the air and to deftly touch that ball up and over, knowing that you have to get over the goalkeeper, which in hindsight, he was completely rooted to the ground.
Love the photo. Oh, the photo.
Danny
so
Ward is a terrible goalkeeper.
Yes, very bad.
From a Premier League standard, he is not at the bar, which is why Leicester are championship level.
They're down there. They are down there.
But you have to get over him under the bar. Not
Correct.
easy to do from where he was.
While running. Yeah, anyway. So really, really good finish. And again, you know, I think that the willingness from the wing backs, even the center backs, to play into him, we saw a lot of success. He can hold the ball under pressure. We saw like his little Cruyff split in the Champions League night. Like he's finding form. Just to put a point on it, we just need to see this for the rest of the season. Like Kai lead this team into Europa League, and we'll be in a good spot. But yeah, a little bit of consistency is good.
No. Lead us into winning the Champions League. This is
yes. Up the table into the Champions League final for sure. I'm thinking more domestically, but I totally understand where you're at. That would be a big one. If he essentially scored, anyways, I'm not going to even put that out there yet. One round at a time.
Scores twice in Champions League finals for Chelsea.
2 game winners. That would be absolutely epic. All right. Shout out to Kai. Bring it home. Show us a good run. And we'll never leave your side. So anyways, we're going to take our last ad break and we're back talking about Mudryk and what he's got to offer. So thank you to the sponsors. All right, Mikhailo time, showing promise. Look, I was kind of surprised you put this in here, Dan. A lot of people were unhappy with him. I think a lot of people felt like he didn't offer a lot. I think a lot of people felt like playing centrally wasn't his best position. He's much better out on the left, more comfortable. But Potter saying, hey, Raheem's out. You know, other guys are out. This is your chance. We need you to play here. He grew into the game, obviously got an assist. If Kovacic just would have played the ball 2 touches earlier, he would have been in alone on goal and probably would have scored. So obviously there's a lot of conversation about him. What did you see that puts you to put him in the script?
First, I want to highlight the celebration because I know that he got a lot of stick for it afterwards.
Check me on YouTube. I'm doing it.
Was a phenomenal Drogba-esque celebration on that goal. And I was super gutted for him after the fact that it was ruled to not be a goal.
Got to take a little glance over my guy.
You got to check.
You got to just do a quick one.
Also, after getting a ton of crap, this team being the way it was, and for a period of time, I can understand why this was like a pressure release moment for him and other players in the team to have that. It sucks to have it stripped away. I'm glad he came back with the assists because I think having some type of goal contribution was essential to putting him in the direction of really starting his run at Chelsea, starting to find a place in the attack, starting to find an opportunity. I think this was interesting to me, though, Nick, because we heard Graham Potter talking midweek about how this has really been like a preseason for Mudryk, that he's been working himself into form, that just to me, this is both about Mikhailo Mudryk and about Graham Potter and the way that he's handling some of these situations where players maybe aren't ready, haven't been informed. I think we've kind of questioned like, hey, why aren't we just betting them in? We've got new players here. We have individuals who are going to be here next year who, and then others who aren't, like Madueke and Ziyech we've talked about. And maybe this is where Potter is showing us that he has a very good understanding of getting these players up, getting them prepared, getting them bedded in appropriately. And while me may not love it all the time as supporters, the way with Cucurella and now with Mudryk, again, not his best performance, but showed enough glimpses and flashes, I think, to get you excited for about where he can head with some more time, more preparation, and just more acclimatization to the Premier League.
Yeah, I watched this game twice because I was on the flight during it. So I watched it on Saturday when I got home. Then I watched it today just to make sure I could see his performance again in particular because there was so much chatter about it yesterday. I came away from his first half, thinking it was like a 6 out of 10. I think he at times tried to do too much and at times didn't do enough. And I think was really struggling to find himself in the game. there were a couple of moments, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, where Kai and him were in like visible argument about like where he was supposed to be on the pitch. And I think it's just probably the not knowing, very well this new role that Potter's trying to deploy, which is, Kai deeper and the fast guys kind of up top. So I think he struggled a little bit there, but I do think that his second half, until he was brought off, I think what was the 80th minute or so. I think his second half was a lot better. I think my initial take was that his performance wasn't very good yesterday. And then when I watched it back today, I probably bump him up to like a 7.5. I don't think he's the finished article in the final third yet. I think he's really struggling to find his footing there. But I looked at the little sequence, Brandon, where he should have had the hockey assist, where he, drove the ball through the midfield, got it up to Ruben. Ruben makes the perfect pass across. Felix is not onside for inexplicably. I don't know what he was doing. And that should be like a repeatable goal pattern. Like Mudryk did everything right there and then, was let down by, an offsides goal. And I think that is unfortunate, but it kind of reframed his performance for me a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, raw talent, ton of potential. Anytime he has 30 yards playing into space, he is so fast. I mean, he is just a FIFA sweat in that sense, right? And the guys just have to pick their head up and see it as early as they can. It's good to hear that I think we saw a lot of Madueke, a lot of Mudryk. Obviously, we've seen a lot of Badiashile, but he has settled in quite well. A lot of our winter signings get thrown in, and I think Potter's now starting to like pull back on that a little bit. And I think that kind of goes into both your guys' point and saying maybe he felt like that wasn't the best way to bed them in. Maybe it was setting them up for failure. And now he's going to slowly start to sprinkle in their appearances and things and rotate cautiously so that they will be set up a little bit more for success.
This is ideally what you do with a signing like this, by the way. Like, to take out the shit season, the shit situation injury-wise that we've been in this year, this is what we do. This is what we should do with players. You shouldn't chuck them right in. It doesn't make any fucking sense, to be honest. I think, we were a little victims of circumstance when all these guys were brought in and played right away. But I think this is the right thing to do. And I think for everyone who is like panicking about when Mudryk is going to play or whatever, right now is all about getting a result in any fucking way possible. It is not about player development. Like, you have a whole off season to do that. What you need to do right now is get one more goal than your opponent, and in whatever way that is going to happen, that is Graham Potter's job through the end of the season. Ideally you can walk and chew gum, right? Ideally you're developing these guys on the training pitch and you're developing systems on the training pitch. And because we're not in the FA Cup or whatever, we don't have as many matches. We don't play for another full week. So you get another full week of training here to get ready. But I look at this, Dan, as like a guy who is going to probably take some time to bed in, along with Madueke, along with some of these other signings that we made, Chukwuemeka, all these other guys that are young, hungry, and just not the finished article. And I think they might struggle to play over someone seen as more of a sure thing right now, like Raheem Sterling or Christian Pulisic or, Havertz or Felix, these guys who are a little bit more established, just because of where we are in the math.
When everything is still a possibility, it's trying to figure out the best situation to put you there. And again, we're matches away, potentially this coming weekend, from N'Golo Kante coming back into the side, maybe for a cameo. Like, we're starting to hit the best point of the season with players being healthy, with fitness not being guaranteed, but at least being protected for players. And that is a very exciting prospect when you consider only Liverpool has lost more days to injury for their players this season than Chelsea have.
It's also a selection thing now, right? When everyone's injured, team kind of picks itself, right? Because you only have so many available players and so many available bench players. But if N'Golo Kante comes back into this midfield for the last 2 months of the season, he's a starter. He's the world's best midfielder. And by the way,
are you saying N'Golo Kante is good enough to start in the midfield?
I think he will start, Dan. Thanks for asking.
Fair assessment.
I mean, then you have Kovacic playing some of his better ball over the last few matches. You have Enzo Fernandez starting to heat up. You have Conor Gallagher, who I think, we didn't have listed here, but I thought played, who's our best player in the second half. I thought he was fucking tremendous, not only doing the hard grifting stuff, but had a couple pops at goal, had a really great pass in that could have been converted for a goal. Like, he was doing some of the dirty work, but he was also producing offensively. Mason yet to come back into the team, figuring out what this front three looks like. These headaches that Potter has potentially with a fully fit squad, with the last Infinity Stone and N'Golo Kante to get back in the team, Reese back in, like all these things, like it's not going to be easy. And like part of the charm that he has to work now is how to keep a guy like Mudryk, who's been bought for big money, who's not the finished article, happy. Right. Gave him 80 minutes this week. And I think, again, I would give him like a 7.5. I think he played very admirably, just given the circumstance. Not quite there yet, but decent enough. We haven't seen Madueke in 3 or 4 matches, right? He'll probably give him a run out too. Pulisic probably gets a run out too. Like it's going to be fascinating to see his like team assembly. I wouldn't even call it selection, more of assembly, and then figuring out what piece to kind of fire in.
Well, again, going from, all right, who's healthy? How do I build a lineup to everyone's healthy. You got to earn your spot in the lineup. That's the ideal state. And Potter has not had that.
No,
even as someone like Aubameyang, who hasn't featured, he's not even healthy. And so it definitely has some issues with that. Look, Conor Gallagher was a 7.9 and an 8 on FootMob and SofaScore respectively, and he only played half. Right. So
he was great.
He's growing into himself as well. Which just goes to really reinforce what is going for Chelsea, which is great. It's going to be a competition for minutes, and that's the best place to be. Dan, of the match time, who did you have as your top 4?
Oh, look, it was Enzo running away with it as the match winner for, again, the ice cream scoop.
This is correct, by the way. Well done.
Yeah. This was with 59% of the vote, and then Cobra Kai with 24%. And then it was Benjamin Chilwell, as Nick so loves to call him. Dude. That was stone cold.
The Selly? Don't boo me, you motherfuckers. Bam, he hit you with the Selly.
He didn't care at all. And they booed him and Wes.
I was going to say, if Wes had scored that header, he would have had the best double celebration to ever occur in
King Power would have crumbled.
Yeah. And they couldn't put him back together again. And then Mateo Kovacic with 8%. So, look, I think Koulibaly was the only other one who I think maybe deserved a shout in here. But, this felt like the right 4.
Great fucking goal from Kovacic, though. I mean, great fucking goal.
At least we're struggling to get people in here for the right reasons and not the wrong, which we had earlier in the season.
Right reasons.
Yeah. All right. So some of the results from the weekend, it's a bit of a boring weekend, kind of, when you looked at results. I was the first one back from our team, so you guys really didn't miss too much. Everton beating Brentford, I think that was a bit of a surprise, even though it was 1-0. Spurs over Forest 3-1. Palace held off until like in the 80-some minute penalty, where City buried it. West Ham and Villa 1-1 draw. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3 as they continue to run. United red card versus Southampton 0-0. And everyone is replying with Casemiro's last 3 appearances was red card, lost 7-0 to Liverpool, and now another red card. So he's on a rough run of form. And then Newcastle being absolutely bailed out by the referees 2-1 over Wolves. Nick Pope, no reason he should have finished that game and not had a penalty.
My God.
Absolutely none. And VAR looked at it. So
it's not the technology's fault, folks. It's the application of technology that is really hurting us right now.
Yeah, we have a couple of midweek matches as well. Brighton versus Palace and Southampton, Brentford. So for all of you fantasy geeks, probably matters, but for Chelsea fans, not so much. Top four, Arsenal still 27. So this is where like the matches played starts getting important, right? So as we're 11 games left in the season, 27 matches played by Arsenal. They're on 66 points. Man City second on 27 played, 61 points. There's a 5-point gap. Manchester United in third on 26 played with 50 points. So it's 1 and 2. That's settled.
RIP to Manchester United's title hopes, February of 2023 to the end of February 2023.
It was fun while it lasted. Spurs in fourth, 27 played, 48 points. Newcastle fifth. They got the 3 points, but that's their first win in 5. They've been sliding. They're on 25 games played, so they had to fit 2 more in over everybody else right now on 44 points. Liverpool barely in 6th on 26 played, 42 points. So
lost to Bournemouth.
Yes, after routing United. So struggle bus for them. Chelsea, after getting 6 points in 2 games, though, Dan, we are still in 10th with 26 played, 37 points. So that's 5 points between us and Liverpool in 6th. And we are level on games. And guess who our game in hand is against?
Dun, dun, dun.
Liverpool.
Fascinating.
Any thoughts on the table, Dan, between top 4, top 6, Chelsea in 10th?
Look, it is a difficult uphill climb. But mathematically, they're still around.
Yeah.
And as we've seen from the past couple of Premier League seasons,
11 points is mathematically there.
All I'm saying is at a certain point, it becomes a hot potato that nobody wants. We will gladly take it. I will raise my hand right now on behalf of Todd Bowley and the rest of the team saying we will take the 4th place spot if nobody wants it. Don't worry. We will continue doing the Lord's work in the Champions League to help the coefficient. You're welcome.
It is weird up there.
Newcastle's not ready. Liverpool's not ready to go back. United is a false operation. And Tottenham, who knows when Antonio Conte is going to even be there next season? Like none of them. Get him out of there. Let us just do the thing and get back into Europe and show the Premier League again what it means to take the competition seriously. Thank you for coming to my Dan Talk. You're welcome.
My only problem with this, Dan, is either or. Either you're going to whine on us in the Champions League or we're going to climb the table. I don't think you can have both. You got to pick.
Not both.
No. The relegation zone is an absolute disaster. Southampton in 20th place, 26 played, 22 points, 19th.
They really missed a chance to beat United today. I mean, they should have beat United today.
Yeah. I mean, some would also say the referees didn't do them a solid. Leeds 19th, 26 points. 26 played, 23 points. Bournemouth 18. 26
going down. Leeds are going down.
26 played, 24 points. And then West Ham are 17th on 24. Leicester are 16th on 24. And Everton are 15th on 25. Forest are 14th on 26. Wolves are 13th on 27. Palace are 12th on 27. Literally from 12th down, there's 5 points, right? From 12th to 18th is 3 points. Like there are 7 teams fighting off relegation.
Credit to all the away fans who saying we're staying up today. It kills me every time. We love taking the piss out of ourselves, but yeah, next match, Everton at home. Got to put them away. Got to do it. Got to keep the run going, right? I mean, this is a clear-cut opportunity before Chelsea get into some of the harder matches that we know are coming up to take on an opponent that is playing scrappy. Like, admittedly, Everton's been a lot better under Dyche than they were under Lampard, as hard as that is to say. But I mean, if you look at the rest of our matches, April's a shit show. We got Villa, Liverpool, Wolves, Brighton, United, Brentford, Arsenal, in
Champions
April.
League.
And Champions League. Yeah. So beat Everton and just keep the momentum growing, keep the confidence growing. Like
One
that's what we
game
need.
at a time. Keep it focused on that. We'll get the Champions League draw later. But anyways, Premier League focus today. That is it from us. Match review done, in the books, 3 in a row. Potter's got receipts, everybody. I'm just saying.
He's too nice to use them, though. He's too nice. He'll use them on a board in his office for motivation or something.
Yeah, I know. I think we had them. I think they're stored somewhere. And look, we'll go back to them if we need to, but we're just really focused on the situation right now and what we can control.
All these Twitter accounts are good lads, good lads.
Oh man,
they gave it their all.
They gave it their all.
We're here to help you keep some balance in your life as a Chelsea fan. It is not easy, but it is what we are here to do. So anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Lots more content. We're back stateside, buckled up, buckled in. We're here to continue the journey. So again, shout out to everybody who joined us in London. Absolute pleasure. Shout out to Chelsea for continuing to keep the good times rolling after a miserable few months. But here we are, back in a good vein. Let's enjoy it while we can, because as we know, it's not always guaranteed, Chelsea fans. Until next time, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.